Hello, everyone, and welcome to Morning Tea Live. Happy Wednesday. I hope you guys are doing well. I'm so excited for today because we are going to be chatting about loneliness, being single, and the comment box that I got where this person was describing that they really want intimacy and connection and affection, but that they feel like they have healing to do before they're ready to start dating. So we're going to talk about how do we know when we're ready to start dating after being Tara says hi from Soren at I was like, are you on a ride right now at Disney World and you're watching my live? That's true dedication to Morning Tea Live. You're a true Morning Tea Live fan. I love that. So we're going to be talking about how to know when we're ready to actually start dating again while we are single, while we're on a healing journey, and how we can really look at the energy behind the desire for intimacy and connection and where we are not giving ourselves that and all the things. And then I'm going to talk about my newest program, which is one of my signature programs for single people, but with an added cherry on top bonus, which I'm so excited for. Okay. So what do I want to start with? Let's take a breath. Let's breathe. Kara, you can do this in line at Disney World. You can breathe and encourage other people to breathe. Lines are a great place to breathe. Okay, so breathing all the way in. And release. And again, breathing in. Sighing it out. One more. And maybe taking some neck rolls or any organic movement. Maybe some shakes. Maybe some yawns. Some wiggles. And just coming back to stillness. So it's perfectly timed that I am talking about this during Mercury retrograde, because Mercury retrograde can bring back things from the past. And last night I had a full-on dream that my ex and I had, the one that I was supposed to move here with, that he and I were like together again, but only temporarily. And we both knew that we weren't actually getting back together. Or I knew that, but I was afraid he didn't know that. And it was like bringing up all the trauma from when I broke his heart. And, but then in the dream, it was like this reparative experience where he was like, no, I know, like, I know that after this, we have to part ways. And it was like really sweet and reparative and healing. And I just thought that was so timely, timely, whatever. Can't speak today. Perfect divine timing and fitting for what we're going to talk about today, just in terms of being single and relationships and dating and wanting connection, but knowing that we're maybe not ready to start dating yet. So we love to be in the black and white, the all or nothing, the right or wrong, the either ends of the extremes. And so when we are single and we are really wanting that connection from others, but we know that we're not quite ready to date. Now, how do we know if we're ready to date? We know if we're ready to date not because we think we're fully healed, because a lot of healing happens when you're in relationship, and a lot of healing happens when you're just focused on the relationship with yourself. And a lot of healing happens when you're doing relational healing with me, where you're in a relational container with me or with one of my groups. And it's not this like finite experience where you're like, okay, I've done 5 months of dating myself and now I'm ready to date others. It's more about, just like with anything, the energy behind the thing. So if you are single and you're feeling lonely, and so then you go on a dating app to try and avoid that feeling of loneliness, that might be coming more from the inner child wanting that attunement, that connection, those emotional needs to be met, as opposed to your adult self being like, oh, I feel ready. I feel, maybe I won't ever feel fully ready, but I feel like I have a desire to do this. I just got distracted because my cat is laying in the basket, in the blanket basket. And she like blended in. I was like, is that Luna? It's very cute. I've never seen her in there before. Very precious. Anyway, so in my experience, I have known when it was coming from an energy of I'm avoiding myself, so let me go on the dating apps and try and find some dopamine and some validation, versus I have been consistently focusing on myself. I feel safer and safer to be with myself, but I have a desire to go on a dating app or go out and meet people. So that's what's in our control, of being honest with, is this coming from a place of desire or a place of our inner child trying to get needs met? If it's coming from a place of inner child trying to get needs met, we do have needs, both in our relationship with ourselves and in the relationship with others. So it's not that you can't ever seek those needs outside of yourself. Like, we do have needs in relationships. We do need relationship. We do need connection, but it's, am I also giving that to myself? Because if you're just relying on it externally, that's continuing to perpetuate that survival mode of your inner child, depending on something outside of yourself for safety, as opposed to when you are saying, yes, I really need this support. I mean, people hire me because they're like, I need support, right? Like, that's valid. If you're saying I need support, and you're also learning simultaneously as you're getting these needs met by me or by a therapist or by a friend or a relationship, you're also using that to come home to yourself. So we need both. We need connection with ourselves. We need connection with others, and a connection with others is going to feel much more connected if we are first connected to ourselves. And then when we are tending to those needs and we are giving ourselves that need, so taking time every day to get still with ourselves, to check in with our hearts, to check in with our bodies, to look at what's happening for us, to tend to our inner child needs. When we're doing that every day consistently, and we're building more of that internal safety, and we are feeling just this desire, this curiosity of like, oh, I kind of want to start dating again and see, what happens. And again, that's in our control of whether or not we take action to do that. What's not in our control, and I was talking about this actually with Cara, is that we can be single and we can start attracting connections because we're shifting our energy, and we start attracting connections without even looking for them. Now that's the creme de la creme, because as fun as it can be to go on a dating app or go out and meet people or whatever it is, like to put in the action, it's even more magical when you're just sitting at home living your best life and you're just becoming an energetic match for fun connections. Now, connections always come into our lives, sometimes when we least expect them or when we least feel ready, which we cannot control. We can control how we respond to the connection. So if someone's like, I told myself I would be single for 6 months, and then this connection came in, and now I'm going to be fixated on the 6 months. So that actually happened with me. And it was a very gray area of, was it me releasing control or was it me not honoring myself? So I think you guys know the story, but for those that may not, when I was anxiously attached to Cute Neighbor, who's a character in my, life book, not actually in my book, but just in my future life memoir. And he played a vital role of me healing my anxious attachment. I had made a pact with myself that I would not have sex for 6 months. And the reason for this was because I was using dating apps and casual sex to avoid myself. So I said, I'm not going to date or have sex for 6 months. Am I allowed to say sex on Instagram? Are they going to ban this or something? I think it's fine. You never know these days. So it was month 5, and I had this connection was already brewing with this Cute Neighbor. And we then slept together for the first time. I was on month 5. So I almost made it. So could you say that that was me self-sabotaging? Yes. Could you say it was me releasing control around the fixation? Yes. It was really just like allowing it to be natural. Now, if I were to go back, would I have wanted to wait the extra month to just honor my word to myself? Yes. But I can also see how by overly attaching to that number, it was me trying to control to feel safe or to prove something rather than to allow the natural thing to occur. So sometimes these things are nuanced and gray. Now, the whole point in sharing this is I had moved into the complex where I met him because I had moved out of my apartment with my ex where I was ready to be done with men for a while. I was like, I'm going to move to this new place, have a new fresh start, just focus on me. And the universe was like, "Mwah, ha, ha. Actually, what's going to happen is you're going to move into this new place and become anxiously attached to this guy that you have a deep soul connection to. And he's an addict, and it's going to trigger your codependency. And just when you thought you're going to take a break from men, you are going to attract this connection." So we cannot control when connections come into our life. We can't force a connection. So you could go on 5 different dating apps and go on 5 different dates, and maybe you don't feel a connection with any of them. You can't force that. Or maybe you go on one date and you fall madly in love. You cannot control that. A connection is a connection. You literally cannot control it. It's just, it is what it is. Either I feel a connection with this person or I don't. And so do we have to be, this goes back to the question of like, well, I know I have more healing to do. So the question is, do we have to be fully connected to ourselves to be able to feel connected to someone else? Not necessarily, because sometimes it takes the connection with the other person to feel more connected to ourselves. Now, we can do things every day to connect home to ourselves, but there's also something about in relationship having a mirror to actually what's the word I want to use? Like ignite that connection within our own beings. So, hi Hannah. So it's both. It's never either or. It's not like I have to stay home and meditate and feel connected to myself and avoid dating, or I have to go and date so that I can find that mirror to be the connection to myself. It's following your intuitive nudges of, does this come from a place of desire? So for example, I had, after Cute Neighbor, I again was like, universe, I'm really ready for a break from men. Please, please no more, please no more. And then of course I went to the next complex and I started having not the same situation, but I started noticing a little bit of anxious attachment with my neighbor. And I was like, okay, I get to relate differently. I don't get to repeat the cycle. And that wasn't like the same type of connection. And I was very much, and the reason for that was because the universe was like, here, relate differently, relate differently. And so I didn't allow my anxious attachment to take over. I tended to it and I created some boundaries, and it was a very reparative experience because that wasn't actually in alignment. Now, the last time that I was, if you guys had followed my dating diaries podcast episodes, the last time I was dating was match number 4 last February. So almost 1 year ago. So I have again taken this intentional almost 1 year break from dating. And again, it's not this thing in your mind where it's like, okay, 6 months dating and 5 months break and 6, like that is way too exhausting trying to live in such a controlled way. It's truly just what feels natural, like allowing the natural evolution, releasing the control and trusting the natural evolution. So the natural evolution was that I had Cute Neighbor chapter, and then I moved, and then I didn't have any dating experiences for a while, and then I started dating a little bit again, and I met or no, this was before I moved. I started, Cute Neighbor had moved out. I had a year being single in my old apartment. I started dating again. I went on a few dates, and it was coming more from a place of just kind of desire and wanting to see kind of what it was like after doing the healing work. And then I met match number 4. We had our connection for about 9 months. And then that was almost 12 or 11 months ago. And since him, there's been no one's that naturally has come in, and no one that I have intentionally gone out to try and meet. And what I had learned with that connection was that it was the first time my anxious attachment did not get activated. Like, even though he was super avoidant, even though he was super non-communicative, there were things about our connection that just felt very grounded. We were both Capricorns, we're both grounded at heart. We're both entrepreneurs focused on our own stuff. And so it was this beautiful example of what this person in the question box described as, I had this connection, I had this intimacy, I had this affection, I had these like sweet moments with this person. but then I would come back to focusing on me. And so that was really almost like a test from the universe of like, can you experience connection without losing yourself? And so if you're someone who's single and you want that connection, how can you allow yourself to receive connection without losing yourself? Without losing yourself in the connection, because that's going to show the universe if you're actually ready for true connection, like true, um, relationship, true dating experiences. So it's okay if it feels like there's still more healing to do before I feel ready. Now, again, only you can discern that. Only you can discern between I feel ready to, get out in the dating world while still focusing on me, not in exchange for focusing on me. And if you're in a place where you're like, I don't have the energy or the capacity, hi, honey, Luna's here. I don't have the energy or capacity, and I don't trust myself enough at this point yet, because you're still building self-trust to date without losing yourself, then maybe, yeah, you say, okay, I'm taking some intentional time to just focus on me. And in doing so, either connections will naturally come in or they won't. And you trust the timing of it and you release control and you just keep coming back to you. Now, while you're in that single period where maybe it isn't feeling in alignment to date, what are other ways that you can experience connection? Giving yourself a hug, self pleasure, self touch, self connection through meditation, through chanting, through journaling, through dancing. Can you do mirror work? Look at yourself in a mirror every day. Look into your own eyes. Dance in front of the mirror. Sing in front of the mirror. If you're like me and you have a hula hoop, you can hula hoop in front of the mirror. I will often do that naked. I will like to be naked and look at my body and hula hoop and look at my eyes and just like appreciate my body. So you can do any iteration of that you want. But the point is if you're feeling lonely, loneliness indicates one of two things. One, that you are disconnected from yourself and you're looking outside of yourself to fix that loneliness, to fill the void. And it's asking you to turn inward to fill that void within your own self. Or two, maybe it is in alignment and in desire where you do need some more connection. Like I have shared with you guys that I'm in a place right now in my life where I have been very, very alone this year and have really come into relationship with loneliness where fully accepting like, yes, I'm in a deep alone period. I'm in a deep shedding period. I'm in a deep period where sometimes I feel lonely. But when I use that loneliness as an opportunity to connect deeper to myself, to do things I love to do, like join a dance class, like read a good book, like go on walks, like go to the beach, like create for my business, when I do things that like dance in front of the mirror, when I do things that make me feel connected to myself, I don't feel that lonely feeling anymore. When that lonely feeling comes back, again, it's either I'm disconnected from myself, I'm focusing too much on other people or what I don't have rather than what I do have and actually filling my cup up, or I really do need connection because we all need connection. So for me, I got to a place where it's like, okay, like I've been with this loneliness now for a year. I've really connected myself. I've really moved through a lot of it. I know I'm safe to be with loneliness. I know that it's good to be lonely sometimes because it allows you to connect deeper to yourself. But now I've reached a point where it's like, oh, because I've shed so much, I really don't have that many people left. And so I am in a place where I am needing more connection. Now, before my daily connection, I always had that daily person. So it was when I was in one-on-one with my mentor, it was daily connection with her. When my grandparents were alive, I would call my grandma every day. It was daily connection with her. When my grandpa was alive, it was daily connection with him. When I had a best friend, it was daily connection with her. So even though I was technically alone, I always had those people to have daily connection with. Now, when I stopped doing full one-on-one with my mentor, because it was very much time for me to step deeper into becoming my own anchor of safety, and now we're just in a once a week container, which feels just more in alignment for where I'm at in my own healing journey and becoming more and more of that anchor for myself. And since my grandparents have both passed away, and since I don't have the best friend anymore and I don't have the partner anymore, I don't have anyone where I have that daily connection. Now, obviously, I'm in connection with my clients every day, but that connection is not, I mean, yes, it's for both of us because we're both experiencing it, but it's a different type of connection because I'm holding them. It's not so much a friendship connection or a family connection. It's just, it's a different dynamic, right? So I got to a place where I was like, oh yeah, like I think I'm ready to experience some more connection. And as soon as I just owned that that's what I was needing, I kid you not, my phone notified me that I got a text from two or three. The top two examples that come to mind are two friends reached out. One who's visiting from New York, and she's like, I'd love to see you after Christmas. So she's coming here to visit me the day after Christmas. Another one was a childhood friend that I hadn't seen in a while, and she lives in LA. And so I'm going to her house for Christmas. And then I'm going to my cousin's house in LA for New Year's. So I spent Thanksgiving alone. I actually had a really fabulous day with myself, and I was like afraid of the loneliness coming up. And then I was like, okay, if it comes up, that's okay. But maybe it won't come up. And it really didn't. I felt like I genuinely had such a good day. I went swimming. I went in the hot tub. I just like worked on my book. I FaceTime my family. I was in the sunshine. I took walks. Like it was just like a really nice day off. And that's really what I was needing. I was needing just like a good day off without the stress of travel or anything like that. So I had one holiday alone. And then these next two holidays, I'll be with people. So again, it's finding that balance of both. So it's being honest. Because in the past, when I've said I need connection, it was really of avoidance of myself. Now, when I'm saying I need connection, it's because I'm with myself every day. And now I'm ready to have more connection. And so I claimed that, and the universe literally arranged for like 3 different plans to take place where I'm now going to be experiencing more connection just in my personal life, which is beautiful. Now, am I ready to fully go out and date yet? Not really, because I personally am in a place where I know that the more, like, I know energy well enough at this point and how it works to know that the more that I focus on my goals of being in a place where I'm really sovereign in all areas, finances, emotionally, physically, like I'm really focusing on financial goals, physical health goals. And I know that the more I keep focusing on those, I'm going to be attracting a partner that's in alignment with that version of me. So does that mean that we're ever going to get to a place where it's like, okay, I'm done growing and now universe send me my partner? No, like again, I could meet my husband later today and have no idea. We can't control it. But am I claiming to the universe, God, I'm so ready, give me my partner? No, because I'm not in a rush for that, because I am making such momentum with my personal goals that I don't really want to be distracted from that. Now, if that comes up, because again, I can't control it, then that's my responsibility to be open to that connection while also not associating it with abandoning myself like I had in the past because of anxious attachment. So it's looking at the energy of the loneliness. Is it little you needing you to pay attention to her? And how can you pour more into yourself? 2, do you actually need some connection from others? And that's okay. And how can you honor that? And how can you look to get those needs met while being open to receiving connection in an unexpected way as well? So coming back to what's in your power and then also releasing what's not in your power. And then the second thing is understanding that we heal both in relationship with ourselves, in relationship with a mentor, in relationship with a therapist, in relationship with family. Like we heal in relationship and we do healing work within the relationship within ourselves. So we need both. So again, it's not that you have to be fully healed to start dating. It's that you have to be fully honest with, am I dating to try and fill a void, or am I dating because I have tended to that first myself? And then I'm relating to this more from a place of connection, desire, and overflow. Because when you date from a place of connection, desire, and overflow, you're not going to be attracting people based on your inner child's wounding. You're going to be attracting people based on you feeling safe, like the most authentic version of you. You can't date from your most authentic version of you if there's still an activated inner child who's trying to get needs met. When you learn to meet her needs, or when you're in a container with me that is created to help meet your needs, then you're not going to be relating to the dating world in that way of like, I need this, and I'm just going to settle for this guy who validates me, rather than choosing someone based on connection. I was actually talking about this with a client where she was like, on paper, this guy doesn't look the way that I thought it would, but I get so excited thinking about spending time with him, but I'm scared about what other people are going to think and all this stuff. And I was like, I had her breathe into her body and I was like, how does it feel when you're with him? And she just smiled and she was like, I love being with him. And I was like, that's all you need to know. It wasn't like, oh my God, he's harming me. And like it wasn't a self-sabotage toxic thing. It was like true connection, and true connection doesn't always look the way we think it should look. It looks the way that it is. And that asks us to release control and be open to magic. So speaking of being open to magic, I'm so excited to announce that today I am opening enrollment for my signature program, Powerfully Single, but with a twist. So Powerfully Single is my 5-module self-led course where I had filmed it live in a group with people, but there was no like group coaching. It was just them attending the live modules. And then I had another round where I sold it just as the self-paced course, and I had people do it just as a self-paced course. And now, because I have loved the past 2 programs that I've done where it's both that best of both worlds course and live component, I decided to keep going with that. And I felt really lit up to do Powerfully Single live. So it's Powerfully Single live, the live version of Powerfully Single, where you're not only getting the 5-module course of looking at how to create that deep, connected, falling in love with yourself relationship with yourself, dating yourself, creating an inner and outer sanctuary with yourself, really like uncovering who your most joyful dater self is. Like, who are you when you're most connected to yourself? And you're going to get all those modules around, how do you know when it's time to start dating again? How do you know when it's coming from that activated inner wound? And then on top of that, you're going to get 6 live calls with me. So during these calls, we're going to do hot seat coaching. We're going to do meditations. We're going to do groundings. We're going to do Q&A. You're going to have a community of people to help you feel safe to process and integrate what you're learning in the course so that you can enter this new year, enter Valentine's Day season with this feeling of being so deeply connected and in love with you. Like, if you're not looking at yourself in the mirror every day, deeply into your eyes, if you are not loving yourself, like all parts of you, there is work to be done, and that is okay. That is a continual relationship that we build with ourselves, but this is how we do it, is we have to help little you feel safe to fully come back to uncovering who your most powerful, authentic self is. And then from that place, if you are dating, we can look at that together of, you can bring in things to the group and say, hey guys, I went on this date last night and this is what came up for me. Or I'm not sure if this is attachment versus connection, or if I'm just settling, or if I'm in my head. Like, I'm going to teach you how to connect to your body so deeply that you will know on a first date if you want to see that person again, or if maybe you're just overthinking it in your head. So there's going to be 6 live calls. There's going to be Q&A in between support, a group community chat, Rachel riffs all around falling in love with you, using this single chapter to get to know yourself so that you're creating a future life, relationship, business, whatever it is, from a place of authenticity, getting to know who you actually are rather than your inner child just trying to feel safe. Because when you help them feel safe, you don't seek that outside of yourself in your job, in your relationship, and your dating life gets to just be joyful and non-attached and not so much pressure because it's little you being like, oh my God, if he doesn't approve me, I feel like I'm dying. It's more so just like, oh, cool, I get to see if this works for me, how this feels for me. And it gets to be joyful and fun and exciting and adventurous. And so I have been single now for, let's see, this was my last quote unquote boyfriend, right? The person that I called boyfriend was the person that led me to doing this healing work. So that was over 3 years ago. So I've been fully in a relationship with myself for 3 years. Now, within those 3 years, I've had connections. I've had dating experiences. I've had times of not dating. I've had intentional breaks where I don't even think about men. And it has allowed me to focus on creating my life and writing my book having a third year in a row of having a six-figure business, like doing what I love, creating time freedom, financial freedom, like all these things that are my goals, and being able to focus on that because I feel safe enough to focus on me. When you don't feel safe to focus on you and you're like, I need a partner because all my friends are getting married and having babies. Who the fuck cares what anyone else is doing? What do you want in your life? That is what you have to feel safe to focus on. Not like, oh my God, time's running out. God did not forget about you. God did not forget about you. You're not going to die without experiencing what you want. Your desires were placed in your heart for a reason, but you have to trust your timeline. You have to trust in the lessons that you're meant to learn right now without trying to control it. And when you feel safe to release that control and you lean back, oh my God, dating feels more joyful. Life becomes more joyful. The relationship with yourself feels more joyful. So 5 modules, 6 live calls, Q&A in between, helping you tap into that flirty, fun, joyful, like think of the movie Flirty, what is it called? 13 Going on 30, like the flirty, 30 and thriving. Like that is the vibe of this, but like, yeah, more tending to that inner 13-year-old rather than letting her take over your dating life. So it is now open for enrollment. We start in, when are we starting? February. We're starting beginning of February so that you can start the new year, start Valentine's Day with just such a more deeply connected relationship to yourself. So DM me with any questions, DM me for the link to join. If you are a member in my membership, Beyond Your Wildest Dreams membership, you get discounted pricing. So members pricing is $555 for all 6 weeks, including the actual course and all that comes with that, journal prompts, integration, homework, all the things. If you are not a member, the pre-sale pricing is $777 and then it goes up January 2nd. So if you are feeling this or you want to talk through to see if it's a good fit, DM me and I would love, love, love to chat with you about it to help you feel your most powerfully single self. Yay! I cannot wait. All right. Love you guys so much. Mwah, and I will talk to you soon.